Katie and Sally have both taught together in second grade over the last 3 years. They are the only two on the team. This year, their school has adopted a new math program. Katie does not think the program is worthwhile. The school is in a rural community with very little parent involvement. They have had the same principal for the last 3 years, and he does not promote open communication between coworkers. Both Katie and Sally feel like they are not supported by the principal. Morale in the building is at an all-time low this year due to the leadership of the principal and recent test score results. Beginning this year, Sally is hosting a teacher resident named Elizabeth. According to Leadership Matters, leadership is second only to classroom instruction among all school-related factors that contribute to what students learn at school. The key players in our case study are the master teacher, Sally, the teacher resident, who's Elizabeth, the co-worker, who's Katie, who we also like to refer to as Negative Nancy, and the students, which is a second grade class. The master teacher, Sally, has been teaching for 5 years at the same school and has taken the initiative to become a master teacher and host a teacher resident. The dilemma is directly causing stress to Sally and Katie's work relationship, as well as with Sally's teacher resident. The teacher resident, Elizabeth. This dilemma directly impacts the teacher resident. The teacher resident is young, excited, and ready to be in the classroom, but hearing negativity and frustrations from the veteran teacher can be detrimental. Katie is the co-worker. Katie's actions are directly impacting her work relationships and how she is viewed as a teacher, and it's impacting her students. She has been teaching for a total of 10 years. And the students are a second grade class. These students are from a rural community. The school size is between 300 and 400. Class size is around 20. There's very little parent involvement, and the students are considered to be underperforming according to state test scores. Our dilemma. Sally and her colleague Katie have been teaching together for 3 years. They have formed a good friendship and a work relationship, but lately Katie has turned into a negative Nancy. She is constantly talking negatively in front of the students and in front of Sally's teacher resident. It seems that Katie never has anything positive to say anymore. The students hear her and make comments about it at recess. To make matters worse, Sally's teacher resident, Elizabeth, hears the negativity and seems to be feeding into it. Today was the worst day of all. Sally was in the middle of her math lesson when Katie stormed in through the door. She was clearly upset and annoyed. Sally gave the students a problem to work on while she tried to calm Katie down. Katie said things like, "I give up. These kids don't know anything. I mean, they're in second grade. Why can't we do 5 plus 1? I am just so fed up." Katie's whisper was not a whisper and was loud enough for Sally's whole class to hear, including her teacher resident, Elizabeth. Things got even worse when Katie started to talk about leadership and administration. I mean, they aren't even doing anything to help us. I don't know why we keep sitting in meetings every week to get more work thrown in our face. After what seemed like forever, Katie left and Sally continued to teach. Later that day, Sally's teacher resident started making similar comments. Sally is struggling with balancing a friendship and work relationship while trying to mentor her teacher resident and continue to build positive relationships with her students. She is trying to remain professional but feels like she needs to address the situation immediately. Here are some of our underlying problems. It's inevitable to protect our mentees from negative dialogue. It happens in every school. Colleagues with a negative outlook are in every school, and student residents will encounter at least one in their teaching career. As their mentor, it is our responsibility to model how to respond to negative colleagues. It is imperative for Sally to address the conflict. From our reading from Chapter 4 about fostering dialogue, the goal of dialogue is to have a conversation where all parties understand, hear, shape, and are shaped by each other's thoughts. Consistently, a dialogue is a learning conversation. Top-down conversation also fail to produce results when participants focus on avoiding conflict rather than speaking the truth. During conflict avoidance conversations, participants recognize that conflict might lead to hard feelings, so they spend more time keeping conflict at bay than they do saying what they think, period. Another underlying problem is that this type of negativity can be detrimental to the students' attitudes towards their abilities. It's also very distracting to the students to hear negative comments come from the adults they are supposed to respect. Teachers' attitudes can help or hurt student motivation, achievement, and well-being. Recent studies found that negative teacher attitudes can impair academic achievement and increase student psychological disorders and physical symptoms of stress. Some resources we found that could be helpful in this type of situation when sharing sensitive matters. One is an iMessage to indicate ownership of one's feelings about an event and to indicate what you have observed and how you feel about the event. It gives a concrete effect that the event had on you, and it's coming from your feelings. The next resource we thought about was the sandwich technique. This is to share a sensitive issue or concern situated between two other positive statements. So you want to start with a positive statement, then put in the issue that is concerning you, and then also close with a positive statement. The third resource we found was to indicate the need to visit with the colleague at a later time. So you might just hint that, oh, I'd love to talk to you about what you brought up earlier today. I've been really thinking about it a lot. Maybe we can talk about after school. That way the seed is planted and they're thinking about it already, so it's not kind of startling when you walk in the room and want to have a conversation. Another resource we found was to model a positive attitude. Really, if you are showing a positive attitude, the people around you are going to be much more positive, and most of the time, they're not going to say as many negative things towards you. So listen first, ask more open-ended questions, and hopes it will encourage the negative colleague to think about or see more positive solutions. And finally, we talked about the resource of now tell me something positive. Allow negative colleagues to share, then simply use the prompt to encourage a positive response after they have gotten the things that have been bothering them off of their chest. Chapter 4 in Night discusses meaningful dialogue by considering others' thoughts and feelings, clarifying the meaning of words and concepts, providing contextual information others need so that they can understand what we are sharing, identify our false assumptions, and use stories and analogies to help ideas come to life. So when you are having dialogue, you want to consider those things and keep those things also in your forefront of your mind. So, what do you suggest that Sally and Katie do to build on and improve their emotional intelligence as a team? What actions should Sally take to ensure the resident teacher's experience is not negatively affected by her colleague Katie? And in addition to that, what should Sally and Elizabeth do to protect their students' experiences in the classroom?